I watched all 51 Euros games, and today I'm going to be ranking them from a great watch all the way down to, that. Well, let's start from the group that kicked this beautiful tournament off. Germany versus Scotland. Lots of goals, first game hype. I'm going to put this one in great watch straight away. What a way to open a tournament. The second match of the tournament was Switzerland versus Hungary. I thought this was an underrated match, and I put it in entertaining because I think Mbolo's goal was good and Switzerland showed what they were really about, and Hungary did. Scotland versus Switzerland, yet again, decent. Could have been worse, but Shaqiri's got a banger. Germany versus Hungary, meh. Wasn't that good, was it really? Germany weren't at the best and Hungary weren't doing that well this tournament anyway. Switzerland versus Germany, I've also put in meh because I think it was boring. 1-1, not much to it. Scotland versus Hungary. Now, as an England fan, I find this entertaining because the Scots are out and they had so much hope for the game. Now we're going down to Group B, Spain versus Croatia in Berlin. I thought this was an entertaining match, which I also found Italy versus Albania was entertaining as well. The first two games amazing. Albania nearly made it and they made a quick goal. Croatia versus Albania was a great watch. You know, to see the spirit from Albania was absolutely amazing. Spain versus Italy, I thought it was decent. Nothing crazy, but it was a good win for Spain. Then Albania versus Spain, I'll put that one with my boy Schweinsteiger because, let's be honest, who cared about that game? I didn't care. Then Croatia versus Italy, I put decent just because it was, unfortunately, Luka Modric's last game. It was a sad ending, and Croatia probably deserved to win, so quite sad, but it was alright. Okay, we're now on to Group C, where the mighty England kicked off, and I thought the first game against Serbia was a decent match, especially thanks to Jude Bellingham. Next, we have Slovenia versus Denmark, which I thought was a decent game. Nothing crazy, but decent game. Then we have England versus Denmark. I don't think I need to say much here because it was just meh. It was poor. Both teams are rubbish, but I guess that guy did score a banger. Now we have Slovenia versus Serbia, which I also thought was a decent match. As you can tell, there's a bit of a theme of this group. It was all decent and pretty meh because it was quite a boring group. Probably the most boring group, to be honest. Now we move on to the final games of this group, which were both absolutely horrendous. I don't need to say much more. Now we have Group D. For the first match, Poland versus Netherlands, I'll put it in entertaining. I think we nearly had an upset and it was quite entertaining. Then we have Austria versus France. I'll put this in crying because France were just poor for the start of the tournament. Next up, we have got Netherlands versus Austria. This was a great watch. Watching Austria top the group was amazing. Now we have France versus Poland. Yet again, France were rubbish. Meh. Now we have Austria versus Poland, which I found entertaining. Austria popped off, and it was a shame they didn't get as far as they did. And then France versus Netherlands, crying. The referee made an absolute howler. What the fuck? Now we have got Group E, Belgium versus Slovakia. I've also put this one with my boy Schweinsteiger because it was a boring game. I don't even remember it. Romania versus Ukraine. I put this as a great watch. The goals were absolutely unreal. And Romania absolutely battered Ukraine. Then I've got Slovakia versus Ukraine. I put this in decent because, let's be honest, who remembers it? I don't. I've also put Belgium versus Romania in decent because I also don't remember that one. Slovakia versus Romania, I put meh because it was just boring, rubbish. Romania dropped off from their first game, definitely. Then Ukraine versus Belgium, and because Belgium was so bad in this group stage, I put this in the crying one with boy Schweinsteiger. Now we move on to the final group, Group F, Turkey versus Georgia. I put this in great watch because, let's be honest, it was one of the games of the tournament, to be fair. Portugal versus Czechia, I put this in meh because I thought Portugal weren't the best and Czechia were just a bit boring. Georgia versus Czechia, I've also put in meh because, as I said before, Czechia are boring. Then we've got Turkey versus Portugal, which I definitely found entertaining. I think Portugal really showed who they were there, and the last-minute winner was always good. Portugal versus Georgia was also entertaining because who expected Georgia to beat Portugal? I certainly didn't. Czechia versus Turkey, I've also put a great watch because of the scrap at the end. Now we move on to the knockout games where it all got really, really real. Switzerland versus Italy, I put in great watch because who expected Italy to lose to Switzerland? I certainly didn't. England versus Slovakia was entertaining only because of Jude. Romania versus Netherlands, I also put as entertaining because most knockout games are entertaining, as you're finding out. Like Austria versus Turkey, I also found that entertaining. Germany versus Denmark, I found that decent. You know, Denmark have been boring all tournament and Germany weren't that great on that day. Spain versus Georgia, great watch. You know, 5 goals? Mental. France versus Belgium, same story for France. I've put that with Schweinsteiger because France played the most boring football I've ever seen. And then Portugal versus Slovenia, I put decent only because of the pen saves. Okay, so I've jumped straight to the semi-finals and finals, just to get out of the way. Netherlands versus England. What a great watch that was. Come on, England, what a game. Ollie Watkins is a legend. Spain versus France. I've also put in great watch because, yeah, again, Yamal's goal, amazing. Spain versus... Yeah, I don't want to talk about that one, actually.